I get two that we tried. So you have to do that.
Okay.
Ghost Dad.
The lady in my
trash.
the lady in my basement.
Basement Mom.
Do you like either of those?
Yeah, I like either of them.
All right, which one you want to do?
Trash Mom.
Trash Mom?
Yeah, Trash Mom.
Okay. Robert McElroy's mother just died. And he has been given her ashes while leaving his house to bring them to her favorite river where she wished for it to be spread. Some skateboarders ride by and knock him over. He spills the urn on into the garbage. He spilled. Okay, back it
No,
up.
the skateboarders come and like do this whole big scene where they're taunting him and everything, and they steal the urn.
Yeah,
And then they run, and he chases them again. He's like, "Come on, just give me back my mom." And they're like, "You mother's trash, kid." And they throw it in the big green bin, you know.
Okay, yeah.
And you hear like the doom, you know, the echoing of it hitting the empty big trash bin.
Yeah, this is at his apartment. His
In the back of
apartment.
in the back of the complex. Oh, I was
Yeah.
thinking it was like the big field of the school of like the
No, I think this has to be where he lives.
Okay. Wait, how old are
and
these kids?
Well, I was originally imagining this to be a middle-aged man, but now it sounds like it's a 13-year-old boy.
But why would?
Okay, wait. I got someplace. This is great. Okay, so he's about to fish it out, and then he has a flashback to his mother, who was a germaphobe, saying, "Don't you play near the garbage. Stay away from the garbage, Robert. Don't touch the garbage." And he backs up and he leaves the urn in there. We watch him we watch him go back into the apartment. Time elapses. The sun goes down, but we can still see the big green garbage can, and in the middle of the night, white light starts shining within it, and mist begins. The next morning, we wake up with Robert. He's brushing his teeth, and he puts on his book bag. His dad is there, in the apartment, but he's drunk. He might as well not be there. And then we follow Robert down the stairwell of the apartment building, and he's passing the garbage. He looks at it, sad, and then walks away. He gets about 2 feet away from it, and it goes, "Don't leave without putting on a coat, Robert." And he looks back, and he steps forward to it. He goes, "Mom?" And it doesn't say anything. And he goes, "Mom?" And it doesn't say anything. So he walks away, and she goes, "Not another step forward without putting on a sweater." And he goes, "Mom!" And he opens up the lid, and out of the garbage, we see that the top half of her body has constituted herself out of the contents of the trash.
Yes.
Take it from there.
And now she's yelling at him?
Yeah, well, she goes, she's like, "Give me a hug, Robert." And he goes to hug her, and she goes, "No, get away from the trash. Get away from the trash." And he goes, "Mom, how'd this happen?" And she goes, "I don't know. I suppose some kind of magic?"
Maybe you let those bullies throw my ashes in the trash?
Yeah, maybe you need to learn how to stand up for yourself. And
You're just like your father, no backbone.
Yeah.
You're like a jellyfish.
Yeah, and he's like, "Mom, this is great. I'm so glad to have you back. Dad's gonna
Mom,
be
this
so
is
happy.
great.
I'm gonna. We need to get you back inside. So I mean, Dad won't stop drinking. It's chaos, and come up. It'll be great." And she goes, "No, Robert, I'm garbage. I live in the garbage now.
I'm trash.
But I can still help you. I can help you get back at those bullies. You see, Mommy's hungry. Mommy's hungry for bad boys."
Wait, okay, this is good. Okay, so is he still talking to his mom inside the big green container outside in the
Yes.
field, right? So he's
Yeah.
like, he's like, what, will I have to come out here and visit you every day? She's like, well, you could try to bring me back home.
No. She doesn't want to go home because she's trash mom.
Well, I'm just trying. Well, I'm saying. So he's like, they have this big conversation, and eventually he decides that he has to he rounds up the trash inside the bin and puts it all
Yeah.
into a bag, and then she's in there. So he brings all this garbage back to his house, and he strews it out on the floor of the kitchen, and then his mom appears again, Mm-hmm. So I think it would be funny to every time if he wants to talk to his mom, he has to bring this disgusting trash around.
And now, you know what I think is better? With that is he tries to do that, but when he gets her up there, she's just trash because she's actually bonded with the trash can, and every time enough people throw their trash, every time they empty the trash, she's gone, and then every time enough people throw their trash in there, she reconstitutes herself.
Only in the green bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has to try to get the bullies in there because she needs to eat them.
Yeah.
Once that's established, he's kind of into the idea of feeding the bullies to her. He doesn't really even have that kind of moral resistance to it because they fucking treated him so badly.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. I'm sorry. What?
Okay, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say, I don't think she should just straight up tell him that she needs to eat people. He should be like, okay, I can come visit you every day, blah, blah, blah. So then he goes and we see him in school and he's saving all this trash. And somebody comments on it, aren't you gonna throw it out? He's like, no, yeah, I'll go, yeah, whatever. And he's we see him keeping his trash. And then finally at the end of the day, he runs out into the field with this big bag of trash to give to his mother. And he throws it in. And then he's like, Mom. No, first he's like, Mom. And he doesn't hear anything, so he throws the trash in. And then he's like, oh, honey. And then, she comes, to.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah. And he's talking to her, and he's telling her about all these great plans that they have, that he's going to, have with her. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't realize that there was one of the bullies was there smoking a cigarette, watching him the whole time. And he comes over, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? You talking to that garbage can?
Real quick correction: it's not in the field. It's behind it's a city apartment building. We're going. Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh, shit. I didn't know you were there. But he's trying to defend himself. He's like, you're a fucking freak, man. You were calling this garbage your mother? What are you, stupid? He's being really an arrogant prick. And finally, he start pushing them around and everything. Mm-hmm. And the guy, Dave, is it Dave? Who is it?
Rob.
Robert. I thought Mark and Dave were still walking on the train tracks, but they're not.
No, Robert McElroy.
Yeah, Robert's like, just stop, leave me alone. And then
a garbage hand.
Well, no, I think that he's trying to push him into the garbage, to get him, but something happens where he slips and
Who's
then
trying to push who into the garbage?
The bully is trying to push Robert in.
Yeah.
And then something happens where he gets him and he pushes over and then he stands up and the bully gets flipped inside the garbage. And now he's laying in the bottom of the garbage. He's and all of a sudden we see these claws come out and rip his chest open and something go through him, and it's just a very brutal death scene of this kid's body being destroyed.
Yeah, just like liquefied.
Yeah, yeah.
And like and how fast the
like,
the chopping
traumatic.
is happening. Yeah.
And then
Yeah. And we're
so then-
sticking with it for a while. We're cutting back to like Rob's face, and, then
And
we're
he's getting
'cause
hit
it's
with
so
blood.
meticulous. It's so strange, like how it's happening. It's like I don't even know how this would be shot. It would be
Well,
like
we do like stop animation of like garbage congealing and turning into
Yeah.
like hands and like it's like like stop motion animation from like the old like Freddy movies or something.
yeah. But then it would like cut to a like giant fabricated piece where like special effects guys like had their hands sticking out of it,
Exactly.
and they're ripping apart this like this larger
Oh my
fabricated jelly boy.
Oh god, it'd be so cool.
Jerry, try to keep your face close to the mic and
Yeah.
like this one uniform distance.
Yeah, so then he's getting hit in the face with blood too, Robert. And he's just
Yeah.
sitting there in shock. He's like, and finally when it's over, he's like, Mom? And she's like, oh, honey, that was delicious. And then, there should be some conversation where he's like, no, it's good. And he's like, and then he's like, gets the idea, like, oh, well, he should probably go home
No,
after that.
at this point he should be freaked out, and he was like, I thought you ate trash, and she goes, some people are trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry, you gotta keep your face the same distance from the mic.
Yeah. So then she's like, he was trash, honey. And he's like, oh, conceptual trash.
Little bad boys who throw mommy in the garbage are trash.
Yes.
And last I counted, there's 3 other little bad boys.
Yeah.
So then that we should cut back. It should kind of go. I think it should go. Like the pattern of the story should be like. Never mind. But we should I think end up back in the apartment at nighttime. We with the alcoholic father and all this. We should have some.
Well, yeah, now he brings, he goes back home all excited. And the father immediately is like, where the fuck have you been?
See, I imagine the father being like almost a non-entity. He's so drunk.
Yeah, but
like
we
in a
wanted to have
stupor.
we
Yeah,
wanted to
okay.
get the garbage. We want to get the father in the garbage.
Oh, I was thinking something different.
Oh, what?
Well, don't worry about it, but we need to have the father not be someone we hate so much for it to happen.
So, go for it.
Well, not yet.
So then,
Because
is
it's-
the father coherent?
He's not coherent. So like, yeah, the boy that night the boy goes back upstairs, and the father's like, "Welcome home," and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well, I got something. So then the kid goes home, and he's like, we can see he's like talking to himself in his head. He's all excited. He's got a grin on his face of what just happened. He's plotting, and then he goes in, and then all of a sudden, he is once he goes in his house, he's like, we can see that the mood completely changes because now he's like in his own hell. He hates being home,
yeah.
and then he sees his dad like stumbling by the kitchen, and he's like, Robert. And he's like, yeah, Dad. And he's like, Robert, says something really incoherent, and like drops something, and Robert's just like, oh, like fucking pissed, and the dad's like being like a dick, but like kind of just like in his own world.
Yeah.
And then, so then Robert goes to his room, and he's just like, now he's like all pissed and shit. And he's sitting on his
Covered
bed.
on piss and shit.
Yeah, he's covered in it. And he's laying on his bed, and we just see him like just trying to like zone out, like puts his headphones on. And then he looks over at his like garbage in the corner of his room, like the trash
Yeah.
bin.
Yeah.
We see him like he's
Ooh.
like trying not to think about things, and we see him like listen to the music with his headphones on. And he keeps looking at the trash, and finally he looks at the trash and he gets up, and then we're in the kitchen now with the dad sitting in the chair, and he has his bag in his hand. He's like, "Hey, Dad." He's like, "What?" He goes, "I need your help. I need you to help me bring garbage out back." He's like, "Yo, bring it out yourself." He's like, "No, no, no. I really need your help." He's like, "Fine." And he like, I was trying to get to the point where he like has this plan to bring his dad to the garbage to kill him, but then he like has a moment of like, oh, it's my dad.
No, just please let me do my stupid little throwaway thing with the dad.
All right, sorry.
But not yet.
Wait, so you still want me to go with this?
How about this? Instead of that, the dad doesn't yell at any point. He's not like aggressive. He's just useless. He's just drunk, useless, very sad. He's like keeps holding a picture of the mother. He's like kind of weepy.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happens where Robert's in the bed. He's listening to his headphones. He keeps looking at his little what is it? It's like a little trash can in that, like in his room. What is that called? Like a waste basket. And then like he's looking at it. He's trying not to look at it, and then he gets up. He brings it back to bed, and he falls asleep cuddling it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jerry, you gotta keep your head near the mic.
Yeah, and we get a shot of his father sleeping in the lazy boy in the living room, holding a bottle of bourbon.
Yeah,
And then we cut back to the kid upstairs, sleeping with a bottle of trash.
Yeah. Then the next day, we're at school with Robert, and he's at lunch, and one of the bullies walks by and smacks him in the head. And he goes, we need some kind of interaction here. We need some kind of aggression, but we also need to acknowledge
That the other bully's missing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he smacks him in the head, and like Robert like turns around and like stands up, like he's rigid. Like for some reason he's getting a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
And
Well, because he knows now he has like a backing.
yeah, and he goes, and like but he's shaking a little bit, and there's almost like there's about to be a fight, and but then the lunch monitor calls out the bully. Let's say his name is Brad, and he goes, Bradley Studemeider, get over here. And like he's like, you're lucky. And like Bradley like walks over, and is like, and the hall monitor goes, why are you picking on McElroy?
Wait a minute, Are you in love with that? Because I got this.
No, I'm not in love with it. Please.
Okay, so. Oh. So this is the next day. They're in school, you know.
Yeah.
And Robert's like sitting down in class, and you hear the bell ring, and then the teacher turns out and goes, "All right, everyone. I know you probably all heard over your social networks that Thomas is missing, and if anyone has any information, you can be excused right now and go down to the principal and talk to the police."
Oh, and at that point, one of the bullies goes, even though it is his friend, turns around and looks at Robert and goes, maybe you certainly know about dead people. Why don't you ask your mom?
Well, no.
Really great dialogue.
No. Because I'm building something here. So then the audience knows that like the cops are involved and like the kid is missing, you know.
Yeah.
And so then we get looks of Robert being like trying to like not look at anyone, and he's being kind of nervous. And then now they're in the hallway after the class, and then that bully comes up and smacks him in the back of the head, and it was like, it's saying something about like he owes him money or some shit like that, and it's like some weird dialogue. And then
I don't think he really owes him money though.
No, he's like he's being a bully. He says some shit. He's like picking on him. He's pushing him around. And then Robert, under his breath, goes, "If you don't fucking stop, I'll do what you're gonna wind up like Thomas."
Yeah.
And he goes, "What did you just say?" He goes, "You don't want to end up like Thomas." And he goes, and then the bully like kind of like is taken back, and he's like he gets wide eyed. He's like, and he like walks back, and then he just walks away. And as he's walking away, he like looks back at him like really weird. And then Robert's like continues putting his books back in his locker and slams his locker door. And then he's walking down to like the cafeteria area, and he looks across the cafeteria through all the kids and everything, and he sees that bully that he was just talking to the security guard and the principal. You know, and he's like talking. We can't see what they're saying, but they're talking. And then the bully notices Thomas, and he's pointing to Thomas. And then now
who's Thomas? Thomas is dead.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's pointing to Robert, and Robert's kind of just like walking with his head down, like trying not to notice that he's like looking at them. And then the cop and the principal start walking towards Thomas, and they're like, what's Thomas's last name?
McElroy.
Mr. McElroy.
No, well, Robert.
Robert. What? His last name's Robert?
No, his first name's Robert. Thomas is the bully that died.
Yeah, but Robert's last name is what?
McElroy.
So then the principal and the police officer are like, Mr. McElroy, stop. And then Robert just bolts it and just starts running, and he leaves school.
Yeah.
And then we get a shot of him like running out the front of the school, and then the principal and the police officer are behind him. And they run out, they look after him, look where he runs, and the cop is like on his walkie-talkie, and he runs back towards the school, and then the principal is just standing there gazing at Robert running across the field. So then, so now Robert's like running, and he's like in the field. He stops, and he's like catching his breath, and he's like, "Oh God!" And so I think something should happen here. Maybe he like sees a trash can, and so he like goes over and like looks around, and no one's looking, and he like ties up the bag in the trash can and takes it and puts it over his shoulder, and then starts running again. And then then he's got this trash bag, and he's back at the complex with where his mom is inside the trash bin. And he's like kind of like in his own world, got his head down, like thinking, like muttering to himself. And he like gets to the trash can, and all of a sudden he looks up and he sees the other bullies there. Thomas's friends, you know.
Yeah.
Wait.
How about just one of them? How about just?
Well, I was getting something.
Okay, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say that, you know, because now the bully knows that he knows something about Thomas, so then they all go to his house.
Yeah, but do we want to blow our load and get rid of both these bullies at the same time?
Well, no, we don't have to do that. So, well, what I've thought about has led me to right here. So now you go.
Okay. So it's just one of them. It's just, what was the bully's name? What was his name? Mark? The one that...
Yeah,
Tom,
the one who... No, Thomas
Mark.
is missing. We never named him.
Oh, yeah, the bully... Yeah, so Mark is there. The bully that was giving him shit at school. And he's like, what do you know about Thomas? And he's like, I know. He goes, I fed him to this goddamn garbage can. The one you threw my mom in. And then Mark looks at him and goes, you're fucking crazy, McElroy. I must have hit you in the head too many times. Because you're fucking whacked out, man. But you know what? Thomas was my friend. And I'm going to beat the living shit out of you. And he does. He just starts walloping him. And Robert's like a skinny little kid. He just kind of like...
Yeah.
You know, he puts his hands up. He's getting walloped.
And as he's getting like beat, we see like the camera's like zooming in on him.
Wait. Yeah, the camera zooms back on him, and then he doesn't know this, but from the garbage, there's one giant fist coming from the garbage, and it raises itself up, and then it points itself down right at Mark, and then it's bigger than his body, man, and it comes down and it fucking flattens him.
It's bigger than his body, man.
It goes up and it does it again, and it's fucking walloping at him. But he's turning into a mushy coin. Like, that's how much pressure is fucking on him. He's becoming a pancake. And all of this again is like splattering all over Robert, who like has to go in and wash us all off. His father's gonna be too drunk to know this, but oh yeah, so yeah, it's smashing him, and then once he's thoroughly smashed, it forms from a hand into like an anteater's mouth and sucks up all the goo.
Okay.
And then it pulls itself back in. And it goes, nobody talks to mommy's baby like that.
Okay, I was gonna say something more realistic, but whatever.
Well, what does it say?
What does it say? It says that he's sitting there like standing, and the whole time he's getting his ass whooped.
Oh no! I'm not giving away that scene. I love it.
Oh,
I thought you were just changing the dialogue because that is shitty dialogue. Or maybe it doesn't say any. Maybe Trash Mom doesn't say anything. Robert just goes, "Thanks, Mom," and the scene cuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, he goes, it's all quiet all of a sudden. And we see, like, Robert covered in this blood, and it's like the shocked look on his face. And you think that he's going to be, like, he's about to scream or something, but he just, like, he kind of, like, wipes the blood on his cheek and looks at it, and he goes, thanks, Mom. And then we get a shot of the green trash bin just sitting there, like, in silence, like,
Yeah.
and you hear the crickets and everything.
Yeah, there's crickets.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that night we cut right to them sleeping. We cut to again Robert sleeping, holding the waste paper basket, and the father sleeping, holding his bottle.
Well, yeah. So now we're back in Robert's room, and he's sleeping. But as the camera is like panning back and over, we start to see that there's like a lot of trash accumulating in his room. You know,
okay.
He's been saving.
I'm going somewhere with this, but they haven't. Okay, go on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just wanted like a cool visual where like we're panning back and he's like snoring, but there's fucking trash bags everywhere and like garbage everywhere.
Oh, because he's saving it for the mom.
Yeah. He's been saving.
But then, so we cut. Yeah, so we cut and we see the father is sleeping in his recliner with the bourbon, and then we cut outside, nighttime. We're looking at the green trash bin, and it glows again, and we see the top shoots open, and the garbage incorporated top half of the mom throws herself out of it. Now there's still a tail attaching. There's still a tail attaching her to it, so she's not separate from it yet. There's just enough garbage in there now for her to do this. And she, with her hand, she pulls herself forward, and she pulls herself in to the back entrance of the building. And we keep cutting to them sleeping in their rooms, and then we cut to the stairwell, and she's pulling herself up one hand by one hand. And, then back to Robert and his father sleeping. And then she, like, uses, like, a chicken bone to, like, kind of pick the lock to be able to get into the apartment. Like, the chicken bone's, like, part of her finger. And then we see from her point of view, she's crawling along the floor, and she's getting into the entrance of the apartment, through the living room, towards the recliner, and then on top of the father.
Yeah.
And he opens his eyes.
And the whole time she's moving. Oh, sorry.
And he goes, Deborah? And she goes.
No, he goes, Deb?
Deb? And yeah. And she goes, take off your pants.
What?
Yeah.
That's what he says. He starts laughing and goes, what?
And then she...
But no, I just want to add, as she's moving and slithering around garbage like, we hear the sounds of like, how they make some monsters in movies sometimes sound like insects, like...
Sure. Well, listen, we're about to get a bunch of that noise. we're about to get a bunch of that noise because she says take off your pants, and then like we just cut to the outside. We cut away. We're not actually seeing it, but we can hear that they're starting to have sex. And then like, you know, Robert's door just opens and he like peeks his head out and he's like weirded out, but he's also like, oh, my parents are back together. And he closes the door and lets them have their privacy.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Next, whoa, that's staying in there. Why don't you like that?
I guess that was good.
Okay.
But I think it'd be good. Yeah, okay. Well, I was thinking we get a shot of the trash bin in the dark with the crickets, and all of a sudden the lid flies open. No, the lid doesn't fly open. We see like fingers pushing out from where the lid is, and then all of a sudden we see an arm come out, and then we see like this whole it's like a human body, but it's just made out of garbage, and it just like it like slithers out the top of the bin and falls, you know. And then this thing, we see it like slithering through the hallways of the apartment complex, and then finally it gets to the door, and then we cut to the inside. And
it's important that it's still connected to the garbage can somehow, because that is what she's bonded to.
Well, exactly. So like the whole time, like there's this long trail of garbage that she's like, you know, it's like an umbilical
So far,
cord.
this is exactly what I was describing.
But like she gets to the door, and then she's like, all of a sudden we cut to the inside. We see the dad like passed out, and then we also see Robert passed out in his room with his headphones on. And all of a sudden we hear the doorbell ring, and Robert doesn't hear it because he has his headphones on. And the dad, we cut back to the dad, and he's like kind of like moving around. He hears it a little bit, and he keeps going and going and going. It's getting really more annoying. And he's like, all right, fine. And he gets up, and he opens his door, and it's the mom, but she looks, you know, beautiful. And he's like, Debs? And she's like, what's his name? Freddie.
Mojo.
Yeah, she's like, Freddie. And he's like, oh my God, Deb. And then she comes in, and he's like completely like dumbfounded. He drops the bottle of whiskey. She's like, I came back for you. He's like, no. She's like, yes. And he's like falling for it, and he's like so happy. And then all of a sudden he realizes like, no, you're dead. And then he falls back into his chair, and she's like over him. She's like, I just want one more time with you, honey. And she goes to take off her blouse to show us her breasts. And as she does that, it's just garbage falls out everywhere. And it's just maggots and everything. And she slowly starts turning into trash. And does she kill him?
No, why would she kill him?
Because she's evil.
No, she's not evil.
She isn't?
No, she's
Misunderstood.
evil, but yeah, well, she only kills people she thinks are trash. She's not going to kill her husband. She's killing bullies. I like my version better.
Wait, what was your version?
It was the same, but she never stopped looking like a trash monster, and they just fucked. And he was into her because he's drunk and he loves her. And then, Rob is happy.
Oh, well, that's what
back
happened.
Together.
So she opens up her blouse, and she's starting to turn into trash, you know? And he's like, what the? And then she just starts, like, going down on him, and he's totally into it.
Okay. We'll film both, and we'll see what test audience is like. But it both ends basically the same way.
Okay. They're obviously going to pick mine, because I have trash tits in mine.
Well, I have trash tits in mine, too.
Really?
I have 4 pairs of trash tits.
Shit.
He takes off his shirt. He's got trash tits. Then Rob comes out of his bedroom. He goes, I got them too. He takes off his shirt. He's got trash tits.
And then the movie says, the end, trash tits.
Happy Halloween.
And Thanksgiving.
Okay, so one way or the other, however that scene plays out.
Oh, I got it. All right, so then, we see them they start having sex, and then like the camera like pans back and like just fades to black, and then it's the morning. It just like hard cut to eggs being cracked on a hot skillet, and the dad is making it. He's whistling. He's like. He's like all like happy.
Black coffee.
Yeah, he's drinking black
up.
coffee. And then Robert comes out of his room like he's like all like hair's messed up and his headphones are still around his neck. And he's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, good morning, Robert. I'm making
Wait, what?
breakfast."
Why is he British?
Well, that's the whole thing. We didn't know this whole time that his dad had like this aristocrat accent.
Fine, I like it.
And he's like, 2 sugars as normal? He's like, okay. And he sits down.
I don't usually take any sugars in my eggs, but whatever.
Yeah. He's like, just cracks the sugar over the eggs. And then, like, we get the shot of he's sitting at the table, and the dad is just off camera to the screen left, and he's just, like, constantly putting more and more stuff in front of him. He's like, wow, you seem pretty happy today, Dad. He goes, something really crazy happened to me last night, and I just can't get over it. It's just making my day. And
I had sex with garbage. You must try it sometime.
Yeah, and then as he's doing this, Robert is opening up, those little sear packets.
Yeah,
you
no
get from the
people
diner?
really have those. Okay, yeah.
So he's like, because there's like a stack of them on the table at that, but so he's like opening up the cereal packets, like, oh, it's just, I've never seen you up this early, really, at all. He's like, oh,
He's like, I'm up all right.
I'm up all right, sweetie. I think British men
My
call their
sweet boy.
Yeah, I think they call
My
their
sweet special boy.
my sweetheart of a son. And so as they're talking, Robert's like, pouring these packets out one by one. He's got like 3 of them, and he takes them and he's about to go like toss them in the garbage. And the dad goes, "No, wait, no, he likes garbage."
Yeah. No,
Oh,
so, okay.
Oh wait, so he like piles up the syrup packets next to him, and the father comes over. He's like, "Oh, is this garbage?" And the son is like, "Yeah." He goes, very well then. He takes it and he was really happy and like puts it in the garbage, and he's like,
Yeah.
you see he's really like ecstatic about it.
Yeah. He just kind of like looks at the garbage for like a second, like someone who wants to fuck the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Robert's just like kind of like, what is going on?
Oh, he's like, does he know?
Yeah, because he's just
Yeah.
he's like, how is this, like, what is the coincidence like that my dad would be like in the trash all of a sudden? And then he's like looking down at his sugar covered eggs, and he's just like,
Wait. He goes, maybe Robert goes, Dad, do you know? And he goes, no, what? He goes, about the garbage. Do you know about the garbage? And then the father thinks for a second. He's like, the garbage? Did the garbage have sex with you too, son? And he goes, no, the garbage is mom. And then the dad goes, the garbage is mom? And then the garbage shoots itself up the window and is pissed because he didn't know that it was that it was her that he was having sex with. And then she kills the father because he thought he was just fucking some garbage lady.
wait a minute, so this is all happening right now? This is not just like a bonding scene?
Listen, an idea came to my head and I said it.
I think it's great, but I want to kind of extend the story because I'm really having fun with it.
Okay, go on.
Well,
Forget that. That's the alternate cut.
It's on the back burner. Listen. So. Oh.
You alright? Yeah.
So Robert's like really perplexed, and I don't think he should really mention anything, you know?
Yeah.
And so then, Oh,
Back to the mic, Jerry.
yeah. So, come to the light, Jerry. Come to the light. So then Robert like leaves the kitchen table, and he goes upstairs and he like shoves a bunch of garbage inside of his book bag, and puts a bunch of trash under his jacket.
Yeah.
And then he's like kind of like nonchalantly walking down the hallway to leave the apartment. And he's like, "Dad, I'm leaving." And he like can't find his dad. He doesn't see him anywhere. He's like, "Dad?" He doesn't hear anything.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ah, whatever." So he leaves, and he goes to the trash bin. You know, he's like walking through the woods and everything, like kind of like muttering to himself. And then as he's approaching the trash bin, he looks and he sees somebody by the trash bin. He's like, "What the?" He's like looks and he's like gets behind like the side of the wall or something, or like a tree. And he's looking, and it's his dad. And
Yeah.
and he's like, "What the
Jerking
fuck?"
off into the trash can.
well, like his dad, and he has his dad, and there's like a bunch of white trash bags next to him. And he's like, "What is he doing?" And his dad's like looking around, and he's like, no one's looking. So his dad just gets on his knees and starts licking the garbage can, like the green side of the garbage can.
Yeah.
And we get a shot of Robert like, "Oh, no." And then and then we see the dad like look up and start talking. Like we see him like mouthing something, like having a conversation. And then he like listens and he says something else, and he listens, puts his ear on the side of the garbage pail, on the garbage container too. And he's like, "Yes, yes." And then so then the father like looks around again, and he gets up and he crawls up and in and goes inside of the garbage bin.
Yeah.
And now Robert's like, "What the fuck?" So then he like kind of like comes out and like slowly approaches with the trash in his hand. And you hear him, he's like, "Mom?" And you don't hear nothing. And he's like, "Mom?" And you hear nothing. And then finally he goes over to it, and it's a very, intense like a moment where it's like, rising tension music as he's going to touch the lid to open it up. And then finally he like goes open it, he opens it and he looks in, and the whole thing is completely empty.
What? How? Why?
Yeah, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He goes, "Dad?" That'd be really funny to film that.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't he say dad? Dad's missing.
I know, but like out of context, a kid looking inside an empty trash bin and be like, "Dad?"
Yeah. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, it is funny. And so then, and you kind of like hear his voice like echoing because it's so empty,
Yeah.
And then he's like, he doesn't see anything, so then he closes it. And then he's like walking away, like really confused. And he's like, "What?" And then so then he goes back, and he has the garbage in his hand. And then where am I going with this? Come on.
Oh my God! You didn't have a place that you were going with this?
No.
No. Then we're getting rid of it. We're not.
Oh,
what the
all right,
hell?
fine. So he opens up the lid and he looks in, and there's, it's full of garbage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's full of garbage.
And it's just the dad laying there, like, writhing inside the garbage with his hand down his pants. And he's like, "Dad?" And his dad opens his eyes and goes, "Oh, Robert?"
Yeah. And then he like fixes himself and he gets out and he goes and
No.
goes,
Well, all right.
You go.
I was gonna say, and then we cut back to Robert looking down on him, silhouetted, and he's just like, it looks like Robert's about to say like, "What the fuck?" And then he just closes the lid.
Yeah.
And then we get a shot of the trash bin center frame in the background, and Robert walking towards the camera with his head down and a trash bag in his hand, and he's just like so like disappointed and confused, and just like to the point of like,
Wait, why is he disappointed and confused?
well, he's just like doesn't understand like what is going on.
He understands what's going on.
Oh yeah.
He's just like a little weirded out because he just saw his parents having sex, basically.
Yeah. So he's like facing the camera, and the trash
His
bin
eyes
is
are
behind
just
him.
wide. Yeah.
Well, he's kind of like just like he's just standing there, like trying to process everything. And then
Yeah.
and in the background we see the dad crawling out, and like he jumps
Yeah.
out, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and he's like his pants are undone, and he jumps down, and he like he's hiking up his jeans and zipping them up, and he's like, son, we have to. He goes, listen, you don't think I know?
It's time we had the talk.
I think it's time we had a little talk. And then Robert turns around and he goes, what do you think, I'm fucking stupid? You don't think I know? And then dad's like, you know what? He goes, you don't fucking think I know about what's going on here? He goes, you know what's going on here? He goes, yeah, I know you're fucking trash, Mom. And he goes, what? He goes, Mom, she lives in the trash now and you're having sex with her. He goes, and he goes, and he goes, Robert, what are you talking about? I have a thing about masturbating in garbage bins.
Wait, but he does know that about Trash Mom. We've already established that.
No, he doesn't, because remember, it was in a drunken stupor that he had sex with the mom.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah?
he explains, like, it all started a few nights ago when I had this dream that Garbage came upstairs and had sex with me.
Yeah, he doesn't know it's the mom.
Yeah, and then the mom, and that's when, never mind.
Oh, I think also really funny, the name of the movie is Garbage Mom, but the whole movie they call her Trash Mom.
I think the name of the movie should be Trash Mom.
Yeah, Trash Mom sounds great.
Yeah.
So then he's like, you've been fucking Trash Mom. And he goes, what? What are you talking about? He's like, well, come on, help me.
Well, no, I do like, I like exactly where it went. Like, he doesn't know
Yeah.
that it goes.
Wait, so is this when Robert tells him?
No, I think he just Robert just like thinks for a second. And he goes, all right, Dad, whatever. And then just turns away and walks. Like, he's
Okay,
like,
well-
he just decides to leave well enough alone there.
All right. Well, I was gonna say this should be the confrontation scene where he's like, "Yeah, that's Mom," and he explains to him. But it's funny because the whole time they're standing
yes.
there in front of the
Yeah, he
trash
goes,
bin, and the dad
"Yeah,
has no
that's
shirt
Mom."
on.
Yeah. He goes, yeah, that's Mom. And then the dad, and finally, after arguing for a minute, that the dad says like, "Oh my God, don't tell Mom. I thought she was just some garbage." And at that
Don't
point,
tell Mom I thought she was just any other piece of trash.
I think at that point, I think Robert just walks away, and then the dad crawls back inside the garbage can. And then we cut to school.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then they have this conversation. And dad just like, he's like, oh man, that's crazy. And then Robert's like, yeah, I'm getting out of here. This is too crazy for me. And then he goes, where are you going? He goes, I'm supposed to be in school an hour ago. He goes, oh, it's very good of you, very very good. And he goes, but wait, son, one thing. He's like, what? He goes, do you mind if I? And he doesn't say it, but both of them look down at the trash bin that he's holding. And he goes, and he throws him the trash bag. And then he walks off, And then the dad's like, bye. And then he like goes back because
I don't think that's. I don't think that really adds much.
yeah, because now he's going back for seconds.
Of course, he was just going to go back into the garbage.
Yeah, well, he's bringing her a gift. The whole point is to keep the garbage joke going.
Okay, all right,
Listen, fuck you. That's saying.
Jared.
All right. So then,
Take it easy. No one's making this movie.
what? I'm putting every penny I have into this.
It would be so fucked up to just let showbiz tear us apart, even though we're not in showbiz. To like pretend Hollywood. Cameras at each other's throats.
I told you, you guys would never survive pretend Hollywood.
I don't talk to Tom anymore. Why? It's, story time.
Something with this fake contract we have for this movie. Okay. So then, wait, listen. So then the dad, he goes back into the trash as the other kid, as the son walks off screen.
We're spending so much time with this throwaway scene. Can we just get Robert to school?
Yeah. So now he's in school, and so now the two bullies are missing. So now there should be a definite talk around school that these
I think actually 3 bullies are missing.
Really?
If you because the third bully, Jacob, he's not in school. And Robert's actually looking for him because Robert is gonna, he's got a plan, and I don't know. Maybe we cut to him fantasizing the plan. The plan is he's going to make Jacob get angry at him, and then he's gonna say, "Okay, you want to fight 3:00 by the dumpster," and then we get to see in his fantasies a bunch of the ways that he's that he imagines his mother will kill Jacob, maybe she. God, we'll have. Well, let me get this idea out, and then we'll backtrack all the different ways she could kill him, in Robert's imagination. But he's just not in school. So finally, Robert walks up to the teacher and goes, "Miss Spelling Wise, where's Jacob?" And then she very, very sympathetically goes, "Jacob's 2 best friends are missing, and it's taking a toll on him, and his parents thought it would be a good idea to keep him home from school for a few days." And Robert's like, "Fuck," because he wants to feed.
Yeah. Mommy's hungry.
Yeah. So I have a way we can go with that, but can we brainstorm a few of the different ways that she could when he's imagining feeding Jacob to her, what that would look like?
Yeah. All right, go.
How about one is they're about to fight and Jacob pulls his arm back to punch Robert, but Robert ducks, and then the lid of the garbage can flies open, and there's teeth made out of garbage that bite down.
Love it. I was gonna say something like that.
Yeah, that bite down on Jacob's hand and then swallow him whole.
I also had this idea of garbage, a pile of garbage raising up, and then rusty tuna can tops start flying out like Chinese stars.
Yeah, that's good. We need one more. One more.
What else is in the garbage bin?
Oh, a bunch of old tampons strung together at the strings, shoot out and make a lasso and wrap around his neck and asphyxiate him.
Okay.
You don't like that one?
Yeah, it's okay. I think.
All right, come up with a different one.
Well, just what else is in the trash?
I don't know. Fucking everything goes in the trash.
I can't.
All right, don't worry about it. Let's not get too bogged down.
Yeah. So then, the tuna cans fly out at him.
Well, this is all a fantasy, so we can move on from it. So, so then we cut back to Robert, and he's in his bedroom, and he's just he's pissed off because he's how the fuck am I gonna feed Jacob to my mom? And then he goes outside and he goes, Mom, I got some bad news. And she goes, "Hi, Robert." And he goes, "Mom, what's wrong?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing." And he goes, "Mom, you sound sick." And he's like, "Listen, I brought you more garbage." And he's pouring garbage, and he's like, "That's good, but that only feeds the trash part of me. The mom part of me needs flesh.
The mom part of me.
Well, she's half trash, half mom.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's just like, listen, I can only survive on trash for so long. I need flesh.
I mean, I like my explanation. It's short and simple. Trash for the trash, flesh for mommy.
Okay. That's the subtitle.
And he goes, oh, God. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna find some bum and I'm gonna trick him. And she goes, No,
You're too stringy.
I'll die before I eat an innocent homeless person. I will only eat evil little boys. And he goes,
It's like an old Yugoslavian children's tale.
Yeah. And he goes, but Jacob stayed home from school today. And she goes, then maybe I'm already here on borrowed time. Maybe I've run my course. And he goes, no, not
okay.
if I can help it.
I got it.
And then we cut to like the middle of the street. And he's tied a chain around his waist and a chain around this large garbage, and he's dragging her through the street.
Well, I think she should be like, well, maybe it's time you and mommy pay him a little visit. And then he's like,
okay, whichever.
And then, but it'd be really, because it's going to be almost like a montage of him going through the streets, pulling this huge green garbage bin.
Yeah. And then he gets outside. He's outside, and Jacob's a rich kid. He's outside Jacob's house, and he's dragged this big garbage can on their
through
lawn.
the suburbs.
Yeah, he's ripped up the lawn. Everyone's looking at him, and he goes, Jacob. and then Jacob's parents come out, and they go, what? Who the hell are you? And he goes,
and the dad's like, "The fuck did you do to my lawn?"
He goes, Jacob. He's not even looking at them. All the neighbors are out, and they go, "Listen, kid, get the hell off of our lawn. We're about to call the cops." And he goes, he's just screaming, and they like call the cops, and then we cut to Jacob, and he's in his bedroom, and he looks outside, and he's scared as hell. And the cops come, and they try to they cut the chain with the bolt cutters, and they handcuff because he's being like aggressive. He won't move. They like zip tie Robert's hands, and they do it too tight, and it cuts his wrists. And at that point, the mother is like, now they're trash to her. So like Chinese food box arms pop up and grab them and like pull them in. And now she's just eating two cop. They pull them in, and like blood and like cop clothes and badges fly out.
Well, I think this would be a great.
She's strong.
Yeah, I think like.
And then wait. Now she's so strong that like spider legs of garbage pop out with like the garbage can as the body.
Yeah.
And it starts marching
My God.
towards
Amazing.
the house, and it like starts crawling up towards Jacob's room.
Yeah, just like breaking the door frame and the wall.
Yeah.
But like the cop should like get him down and like handcuff him and kind of like give him a little nudge and be like, say something like rude to him. And then this is the good part where the tuna can comes out, and then the one cop standing up is like looking down at the other cop arresting Jacob. Robert. And the one cop standing up is like it's like kind of like laughing, and all of a sudden we see the tuna can fly through his face.
Okay. All right.
And then that's when the other cop is like, "What the fuck?" And then we see he like looks up, and we can see that he is looking into the sun at these garbage arms made of Chinese food and empty taco bins. And the spider legs come out, and now there's like crawling inside the house looking for Jacob.
Yeah. And okay, where do we go from here?
Well, now Jacob's in his room, like pinned against the wall. He's like, "What the fuck is this? What is this?" And then from under Spider Mom comes Robert.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah.
With, like-
she's cut him loose.
Yeah, he is like, the handcuff is hanging from one of his hands.
Yeah. Handcuff is hanging from one of his hands. The chain is around his. Like they're both monsters now.
Yeah.
And they but remember the whole thing where like like that Robert was like raised to be a germaphobe.
Yeah.
Okay,
wait,
so
what?
yeah, remember, because that's the reason he didn't take the urn out. We have to backtrack and just like how would we like whenever he never actually went near the garbage, that was like a thing, like the mother would never let him touch her because it was like, no, you're too young, your immune system isn't strong enough.
Yeah.
You can hug trash mommy when you turn 25. And like, so that's like, we have to go back and make that more of a running thing, that like she is still mandating that he not touch the garbage. Even all the times he brings the garbage down, he's using like a claw grabber. So we need to, in this final scene, build this into some way that be their undoing.
Yeah, he touches the garbage and it.
Well, no, I mean, we're not there yet. We haven't earned that. So, but yeah, I'm just, reminding you and then like retroactively baking that more into the movie so that, we can earn it. Yeah. So then, he crawls out. He's got the chain around his waist. He's got the handcuff around one of his hands. He's a freak. She's a big garbage spider. And this bully is just some fucking nerd in his pajamas, Mm-hmm. And he's like, leave me alone. He goes, you tried to throw my mom in the trash, but you're the one who's trash. And now I'm going to throw you into my mom.
Dude, that is a great line. That's genius. You threw my mom in the trash. And wait, what?
You threw my mom in. Don't worry, it's recorded.
You threw my mom in the trash, and now I'm gonna throw you in my mom. There was one more part, I forget.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So, yeah, how do we wrap this up?
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
all right, go.
Well, I was gonna say. So then he's like, he says that and is like very tense, and like as he's like getting in his face saying like, you threw my mom in the trash, now I'm gonna throw you in my mom. And as he's saying that, we see like the trash like building up to like this huge like trash monster behind Robert, and Jacob is just like looking up like, oh my god, this is it, this thing is gonna kill me, because it's rising higher and higher. But as this is happening, think about it. This is a giant trash bin on the top floor of this kid's house. And then the floor starts like cracking, and all of a sudden the store buckles, and then all of a sudden it just collapses. And the trash bin and everything falls down from the upstairs to the downstairs living room. And, and Jacob, he's all like, fuck, he falls into the debris, and so is Robert, and the trash bin is like flipped over, and all the garbage is everywhere. And it's like, it's a whole big thing. And then,
and Robert's freaking out because now he is touching the garbage.
Yeah. He gets, and that's the whole thing. He gets covered, and he's got like milkshake and maggots all over him.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mom! He's like covered and just like freaking out, and there's no movement in the trash. It's just like nothing's happening. And,
wait. There's no move. Why isn't there movement?
Well, we're getting there.
Okay.
Well, so what happened? Like, why wouldn't
Wait,
there
what
be
do you
movement?
mean, so what's happening? You were just like, we're getting there. I was trusting that you had a place to go.
Listen, and then Jacob. And then Jacob, he's like kind of like dazed. He gets up and he's like, he goes to make a run for it, obviously, right?
Yeah. Do you not have someplace you're going?
No.
Okay, because I couldn't tell. All right, so yeah, Robert's freaking out, and then the mother is strewn all over the room, and she's freaking out because she sees that Robert is all covered in garbage. She goes, Robert, run to the sink, wash mommy off you. And
yeah, I got it now.
Go.
So then Robert's like, he's like freaking, he's like, it's all over me, you're all over me. And then and he's like runs to the sink to wash it. Oh, I don't think that, no, because like the mother is not talking. The mother is like, she's just he's like freaking out because he can't talk to his mom, and he's covered in trash. And then so he runs to the sink and he like stumbles to like get the soap, and like turns the water on, and then all of a sudden we hear behind him, "Hey Robert," and he turns around. He's like, "Ah!" And he looks, and it's Jacob, and he's got a fucking a whole thing of bleach. And he goes, "Why don't you try this?" And he throws the bleach on him in slow motion. And the bleach hits Robert in the face. And it's just like,
blinding him.
Yeah, he's screaming. And it's cool because, like, to really enhance the effect, as he's screaming and everything, his shirt is turning pink.
Yeah, he opens his eyes and they're blue now, whereas before they were brown
or they're yellow.
And there's like none of this would actually happen this fast, but there's
his
like
yellow
lines
eyes.
of blonde. There's like lines of blonde in his hair.
Yeah, he's got like blonde streaks. His eyes are yellow. His skin is turning like really like like splotchy white, and his shirt is like from the top down it fades out to pink.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's covered in bleach.
Yeah, and he's like, it burns, and then the mother reconstitutes herself, and she's a dragon made of garbage.
Or I was gonna say that he's like freaking out, and he like hits the stove by accident.
Yeah,
falls down, and lights himself on fire.
That seems a little too. Come on,
okay.
He hits the stove. Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right, so then he's freaking out, screaming and crying, and like just like sitting there like, it burns, I can't see. And then Jacob like walks over to him, looking down at him. He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
He's like, why are you doing this to me? And then Jacob.
But in the background we see Mark and Thomas constituted out of garbage.
Yeah.
And they walk and they grab Jacob by both of his arms and they rip his arms off. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, they rip his arms right out of their sockets, and he's shooting blood everywhere. And then they like deconstitute, and it reconstitutes back into like this big version of the mom. She bites his fucking head off.
Wait, let's elaborate that. So then he's standing over Robert, who's just like in a fetal position, crying on the ground, saying like, "I can't see, I'm blind," and Jacob is just like looking at him like confused, like, what the fuck is all? And he's looking around at all the trash, and he's like, what the fuck? And finally, he like hears something moving. He looks up where the trash bin is, and he sees it's Mark, right? The first one who died, or Thomas.
Yeah,
it's Mark, and he goes, and Mark looks fine, and he's like, Mark? He goes, what? I thought, what happened to you? And then Mark's like, Jacob, I'm fine. Like, everything's okay. Put down the bleach. Everything will be fine. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, where have you been? We've been looking for you. Your parents are worried sick. And as he's like talking to him, like we see he's kind of like acting kind of weird. He's like, everything's fine. He keeps repeating himself, everything's fine. Just put down the bleach. And then we get a shot from behind and we see that from the back of his head is like an umbilical cord of garbage that's just like moving and pumping, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
And it's what's, it's controlling him, obviously. Like a marionette. And
Yeah.
he's like, come on, Jacob, just give me a hug. And Jacob's like,
wait, what?
yeah, Jacob's like, wait, what? And he goes, come to mommy, Jacob. And he's like,
yeah.
What the fuck? And then, what happens?
What? And then
What do you mean? This is not Jerry Tells Thomas story time.
I was really invested. I really thought something cool. Was
What?
gonna
You're trying to
happen.
put me to sleep.
And then give me a hug, and then he goes, "No, man, I'm not gonna hug you. That's it's weird."
No, he goes,
I don't know.
give mommy a hug. And it's written now, it's like, it's like kind of, she's like glitching or something. She's pushing,
Yeah.
she's like trying to make this like fake body thing work, gag. And it's got some,
Yeah.
it's got some modifications that she needs to work on, but it's working so far. And she's like, give mommy a hug.
And then he goes, "What?" And then we see while he's turned around, Robert stands back up. He's all bleached and like villainous looking.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Give mommy a hug," and he pushes.
She said, give mommy a hug.
He goes, "Hug my mom."
Yeah, give your mother a hug.
Well, hug my mom. I like that.
Hug my mom.
And then he pushes Jacob into Mark, and as he gets closer, Mark just turns into.
Well,
you go.
I was gonna say it would be a great effect, a practical effect we'll have to get. He pushes him into Mark, and Mark grabs him. But as he grabs him, his head and everything starts molding around him, and it's like almost like he turns into a mouth,
Yeah, and then he munches him.
Yeah, he just like folds him in, and Mark and Jacob's just like, ah! We hear his bones cracking, and it turns into this big, and then as he's curling in to eat him, we see that the back of him is all garbage, and he turns into this big garbage ball, and then the garbage ball just devours him and slowly slips back into the garbage bin, and then the lid closes.
And then, all the garbage goes back in. It's clean again. And then...
No.
And then, wait.
Okay. Well,
And then... you go.
I was going to say, so then, the lid closes, and it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, all this tension was, for the last, 10 minutes has just stopped, and it's silence. And then we see Robert. Now, Robert is blind. His eyes are, yellowed over, and he's, how blind people kind of just look around at the corner of their eye kind of.
Yeah.
And he's just looking around and he's like, Mommy? And he hears nothing. And he's like, we still got a close up of him covered in the bleach and blinded. And then all of a sudden we hear, bleh.
A burp?
No, that's stupid.
No. He goes, he's mommy. And then, bam, he's shot in the head.
Yes.
And it was Jacob's father who's weeping.
Oh yeah, weren't they just on the lawn?
Yeah, but all of this happened for a while. They got knocked out with all the debris that fell through.
Oh yeah, because remember
Once all
the cops came in and they just started shooting shit everywhere.
Yeah. So once the garbage came up, the parents were able to.
Well, no, because more cops came.
Okay, well the cops wouldn't just shoot them.
Really? Because isn't he a threat? Nowadays,
He
you
doesn't
just have to
a
walk away.
weapon. He's a blind child without a weapon.
That's who cops shoot. Have you not been keeping up with things?
I mean, not in this movie though.
No, we gotta point the finger. So when the cop shoots him blindly in the face.
Okay.
Well, where were you going with the dad?
Well, that's who would shoot him. That's who would shoot a blind child is someone whose son that blind child just killed.
Yeah.
And then, at that point, the mother shoots out. She freaks out and she just fucking tunnels her way through the torso of that father. Then she flies into the fucking the trash compactor of their sink, bursts out the bottom of the sink, and then like there's this line of garbage, and it goes over because it's the suburbs now. It goes out a window into another house's window, goes through their garbage, pops, and then it's just this dragon of fucking garbage.
Yeah, it's kind of like the chain bark of dogs. You know, one starts and then the whole neighborhood goes off. So like everyone's garbage is freaking out right now.
But it's all her.
Yeah, it's all her.
And they're all connected by this one long umbilical cord.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we zoom out aerial view, and you could see like at some point you can no longer even see houses. It's just like
garbage,
debris,
garbage, and umbilical garbages.
Yeah. And then there's like this big roar, and then it says "Trash Mom."
Oh, you're gonna end it there? No. See, the way I saw it was, Jacob gets eaten, and Robert's standing there like blinded by the bleach. He goes, "Mom, what?" And he doesn't see any. He doesn't like hear anything. And then he hears something behind him. He goes, "Mom," and he turns around, and then he just gets shot in the head, point blank. And it turns out it was the cops, and they're like, "Clear, everything's clear." And then they like run in everything, and then like the scene slowly fades out as we get a shot of like the trash everywhere. And then now we're on the front lawn, and we see like the ambulance, everything, and the cleanup crews, and like there's like news reporters, and there's like all the people behind the yellow line, behind the yellow tape. And this whole big commotion. You hear like the news reporters talking about like details of like what was going on as the camera's panning around. And then finally the camera pans away from the house, and we see one of those garbage trucks that carries those bins backing up, and they had moved it out with the backhoe and put it there, and now the backhoe's loading it onto the garbage truck, and they're like pulling it up, and the driver is like this big kind of like big bellied jolly guy with a mustache, and he's got like the jumpsuit on and the gloves and everything, and he's controlling the rig on the back of the dump truck to pull up the container.
Yeah.
And just one of the cops is just standing around with his arms folded, and he's like just shooting the shit with them. He's like, "Yeah, so what happened here?" He's like, some kind of murder suicide crazy shit. He's like, how did this he goes, "We don't even know how this bin got here, but good thing you were able to get it out." He goes, "Yeah, this garbage bin, it's been around for a while. It goes from town to town."
The fuck?
You know what I'm trying to get at.
No.
Well, I was trying to get at that this garbage bin is cursed, and the guy knows it, and he's the one who brings it around to cause chaos.
Okay. Third alternative ending. The cops shoot. It ends. There's a moment of silence. Robert's like, Mom, gets shot in the head by the cops. All of that happens. We're like, all right, we're clear. And then it's just they handcuff the garbage can, and then we see it get taken downtown for processing.
And the whole time they're like towing her away. We hear the mom be like, "No, you got the wrong person. It wasn't me."
You got the wrong guy, you see?
Yeah, and then the credits come and says, "Garbage Mom."
Choose your own adventure, folks. Was it our best episode? No. But it wasn't. It might have been the worst. I don't know.
I think it was one of the better ones.
I think
Listen,
there's a.
that was
listen,
a great
I-
skeleton outline.
Yeah, I don't know about the ending. I feel like
Oh, it was weak.
we did our best with the ending. It didn't, but you know what? It's a first draft, and you have to allow your first draft not to be perfect.
Exactly.
And
Trash.
That's what all these
Trash,
are.
some would say.
Pretty good episode. Pretty good episode. Pretty good episode. This is a pretty good episode.
Yeah, it was fun.
We're pretty good guys.
Trash bomb.
Okay,
There were some good scenes there.
Yes, I agree. There were some good scenes. I think this is a pretty cool episode.
Yeah.
All right, so 2:30 on Wednesday we'll record with the Irish guy.
Yes, I'm gonna put it down on my phone, but please, remind me. So what is this guy like? We could talk like we talk. Or do I gotta pretend I'm Irish?
I don't really know what he's like. I guess we'll tone it down a little bit,
Yeah.
just like because it's a stranger. But like we could be silly.
Okay. So
This is a pretty good episode. Yeah, this is a pretty good episode.
that's funny.
All right, man. I will talk to you on Wednesday, if not before that.
All right.
This is a pretty good episode.